Hey everyone, Miss Maria here. I did my art lesson outside today because the weather is so amazing. Maybe you could find somewhere to set up outside and do your project outside as well. Today we're going to draw the Blessed Mother Mary. Did you know that the Catholic Church devotes the entire month of May to Mary? How cool is that? When I was a kid, I remember all my friends always asked me the same question about being Catholic. Why do you always honor Mary? Aren't you supposed to only honor God? Well, I'm reading this awesome book. It's called Pray the Rosary Like Never Before. And in this book, the author, Edward Shree, gives a great example of why Catholics honor Mary. He says, if someone wants to praise an artist, he does so by admiring his art. Leonardo da Vinci would not be upset with people who admire the gaze of his Mona Lisa. And Michelangelo would not be angry with people who admire his Last Judgment scene in the Sistine Chapel. No artist would rush into a museum and say, "Stop looking at my works of art. Stop talking about my paintings. You should give all your attention to me." Rather, the artist is praised when his masterpieces are recognized and celebrated. I think that's just a great way to describe the reason why Catholics honor Mary. Mary is God's greatest masterpiece. He loves when we admire and honor her. Today we're going to draw a picture of Mary wearing a white dress and a blue robe. She's going to have a halo of stars going around her head. These 12 stars are going to represent the tribes of Israel. Before we get started, I wanted to do a Hail Mary, and then we're going to jump right into our project. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. To start, I'm going to go over how to draw the hint, or if you'd like to do a gesture instead of a hint, I'll explain how to do that as well. The hint for this picture is the bottom of the face and the bottom of the hands. Now her hands are facing down, so we're drawing this section. For the bottom of the face, you're going to start in the middle of the paper and scoot up. That's right where her chin's going to go. So you could start with just a little smile. Then you can extend your line on the left side straight up and stop. On the right side, you can tell it doesn't really go straight up. It almost slants out a little bit here and then starts coming up, and it's higher than the left side. Now for the hands, you can go back to the center of your paper, move over. So from your finger to the edge of the paper, you're going to find the center. Then you're going to move down, and that's right where the back of this line is. So you can start by doing your rainbow and then kind of curve towards the side of the paper and curve towards the side of the paper. As you can tell, the right side is shorter than the left. I'm going to do the exact same thing over here, and these hands are almost exactly across from each other. I'm going to find the center of my paper, then find the center between my finger and the paper, move down, and right there is where you're going to start this rainbow with a shorter line and a longer line. Now you can tell the shorter lines are both on the outside, so check your hint, make sure it's right. I always do my hint with a pencil first, just in case I make a mistake. If you wanted to do a gesture instead of an exact hint, you would just do ovals where the hands go. So you'd find the center of the paper, scoot up. Right here, I would just lightly draw an oval. Then I'd find the center of my paper, over, down. Right here, I'd put an oval. Right here, I'd put an oval. And I might keep going if I was doing a quick gesture. I know I'm going to do a crown, so I'd say that's going to go about right here. And the body is going to go about here. And then I'll come off the page. And let's see, the inside of her veil. All right, now I know that my picture is going to fit on my paper. That's why I do that. All right, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is trace my hint. Take the top off your marker, load it up, energize, blow it off. All right, mine is ready to go. Here we go. Slowly and carefully, I'm going to trace my hint. All right, now that I have my hint drawn, I'm going to go back to my pencil. Okay, with my pencil, the first thing I'm going to tackle is the face. Now, that's the scariest part, I know. But once we get that done, then you're going to draw the face and the hands are really going to be the hardest parts. But once we have all that drawn, it's going to be really easy. The draping and all that stuff is a lot easier than it looks. So for the face, she is slanting her face. So instead of doing a face straight on, I'm going to do it slanted. So a good way to kind of see where the nose and the mouth and the eyes would go is to do this cross on the face very lightly. A slanted line and a slanted line. Now that's going to show me where my eyes go and where the center of the face is. Now that I know where the center of the face is and where the eyes go, right about this line, I'm going to do a rainbow. Right above that center line. Coming out of my rainbow, I'm going to do a little circle. All right, now over here, I'm going to do another rainbow right above my line. And then another little circle. My circle is touching the top of my rainbow. Now above my eyes, I'm going to put an eyebrow. So it's going to come up and down. Another little rainbow. And the same thing over here. Up and down. My nose is going to come right underneath this eyebrow. I'm going to do a kind of a curve. It has a slight curve to it. And then I'm going to hop down a little bit from that curve and just kind of come in. All right, pretty simple nose today. I'm going to add a little nostril, so it's just a tiny little bump on this side right here. Now, the mouth is slanted. She doesn't have a straight mouth. Her mouth is going to be slanted. So I'm going to start right under the nose with a tiny little smile, and that's going to look funny at first. But coming out of that tiny little smile, I'm going to do a line to the left and a line to the right. And then not touching anything, but right underneath here, I'm going to do another little smile, and that's going to be her bottom lip. Now, if you want to add a little bitty rainbow right here for the chin, you can, but you don't have to add that line. All right, you did it. You drew a face. That's awesome. Okay, let's move on to the hair. Now, the hair is going to come right to the edge of my hint right here. So I'm going to start right in the middle. So right at the top of that cross that we drew, I'm going to start from there. I'm going to smile to my hint. Now this one's not going to smile to the hint. This one's going to smile over and stop. Then I'm going to come down and touch my hint. So you don't want to smile from here all the way to your hint. You'd probably go over the eye. So that's why I smiled over, stop, and then come down. All right, the neck. Way up here on my hint, I'm going to do a curved line. Down and out just a little bit. Now the other part of her neck is going to start way down here, so I'm not going way high up. Don't go behind the mouth. That would be way too skinny. You're almost going right underneath the right side of the mouth. That's right about where that hint's going to go. And this one's curving the opposite direction. Perfect. Oh my gosh, it already looks good. Okay, now I'm going to jump down to the hands because like I said, once we get the face and the hands done, everything from there will be a lot easier because I know that's what you're worried about is those hands. So let's tackle these hands. Now, most of the time people say, I can't draw hands, it's too hard. But just don't think about it as drawing a hand. Just think of it as drawing curves and slants and bumps and smiles. You can do all of those things. Okay, let's start with this hand. Now, this is a good teaching moment. I don't know if you can see where I had some pencil lines on here and I erased, because I already drew this hand and did it wrong. So guess what I had to do? I had to erase it, and now I'm going to redo it. That is just a part of art. That's a good thing about drawing with a pencil. When you're older and you start drawing with a pencil, it's actually a good thing. You can fix things, and art takes a lot of patience. When you have patience, then you can recognize when you made a mistake, and you have patience to say, oh man, I don't want to have to redraw that hand, but I really want it to look right because I'm really into this drawing that I'm doing. So I'm going to stop, erase it, and start over. All right, here we go. At the edge of my hint, I'm going to start with a smile. I'm going to draw a little smile, and my smile is going to come up just a tiny bit, and then it's going to smile over with a longer smile. All right, there's my thumb. Now, what I was doing before that was the mistake, was I was making all these fingers too big. This section from here to here was like this big. So I'm going to really look at my picture and really look at where this line comes out. This line for the first finger is coming out right in between my two bumps. So we did the smile for the thumb, then we did that longer bump. So right where that bump is, it's not really slanting out towards the side of the paper. It's slanted, but it's almost coming down. And it's going to be a little bit longer than the end of your hint, because the end of your hint is your pinky, and your pinky is a little bit shorter than your index finger. So this is your index finger. It's going to be a little bit longer than the other side of your hint. All right, here we go. I'm going to smile my index finger in, and I'm going to come up and stop. So I didn't go all the way back to my thumb. All right, now I'm going to start at the end of my index finger, and I'm going to do another smile, but this one comes down a little bit and then smiles, and then comes up and stop. So these two lines can be the same, but the end of my finger is longer. All right, now I'm going to scoot down a little bit. I'm going to do another smile, up all the way to the same length as the other ones. And the last one's going to be the pinky. The pinky is going to start from the end of my hint and curve in and touch. So there are my fingers. Now, I noticed that this finger looks a little bit skinnier than the rest of my fingers. So because I'm using a pencil, I'm going to kind of thin out that middle finger, and you can kind of do this to your fingers as well. Unless yours are good to go, you can kind of go back and fix anything that you need to fix so that it looks right. All right. Yay, I got it. All right, let's see if we can get the second one on my first take and I don't have to redo it. Okay, I'm gonna really look at my picture. I'm gonna smile in and come up a little bit. And then I'm gonna smile again in this way. Okay, coming out right where I started that second smile, I'm gonna do a line down that goes, oh, there's the picture that I'm copying, falling on my art. I'm going to do a line down that goes longer than my hint. Oh. Another thing about drawing outside, you have the wind, but it's so pretty I couldn't help it. Okay, so I went a little bit longer than my hint, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to smile this line in and draw my line up and stop. All right, I'm going to start from the end of my finger and do another smile that's a little bit longer, but the line is going to be the same. Up and stop. All right, this one's a little bit shorter. Smile. Up and stop. And then my pinky is just gonna smile and touch that finger. All right, I think these look good. My middle finger looks a little bit thicker on this side, so I might kind of fix that a little bit. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, I am so proud that we just did a face and 2 hands, and now we're ready to move on to the body and the veil. Okay, I am going to start with the clothing. From this side of my neck, I'm going to keep this line kind of curving out. See how I slanted it out at the bottom? I'm going to keep it going out on a slight slant. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now, the top of her dress is going to be right here at the end of my neck. So right here at the end of my neck, I'm going to come down and back up and touch. Okay, now this part is going to be her shoulder. So I want to curve that line down, and it's going towards her hand. We're going to put a little bump in it before we get to the hand, but ultimately I'm going from this line to the hand. So here we go. I'm going to come out and curve in. Then I'm going to start from that curve in. I'm going to jump up it a little bit. And I'm going to come down and touch the hand. All right, now this curve in line is going to come in a little bit more and actually start curving down. So that's just a little wrinkle in her veil. All right, now let's do the other side. I have the end of my line, and that's right where my shoulder goes. So I'm going to curve my line down. You don't want to go straight down. You're going towards the hand. So I'm curving and then slanting. All right, this one's going to go a little bit longer before I end my wrinkle. Before I add my wrinkle. So I'm going to come down, stop before I get to my hand. I'm going to come inside this line a little bit and rainbow over, touch that line, and then keep coming down to the hand. Perfect. All right, let's come back up here, right where her dress touches her neck. I'm going to do a curved line out. Now from right here, I'm going to curve and start slanting out a little bit, and then I'm going to start going straight down. Not all the way to the bottom of the paper. I'm going to stop right about there. This line is going to smile up and touch the hand. Inside here, I'm going to add a little wrinkle. It's just going to come down and up. Okay, let's do the other side. Right where her dress touches her shoulder, this time I'm not slanting. I'm just going to come down a little bit shorter than this side. I'm going to stop. I'm going to smile up and touch the hand. Then I'm going to add my little wrinkle. All right, now we're going to add the dress. So the sides of the dress are going to be right here where we went in and out. That's going to be the side of the dress, and her belt's going to go right across from that in point. So I'm going to add a line connecting the top of that bump to the bottom of that bump. So this big bump that we did right there, I'm going to add a line. And right in the middle of that line, I'm going to do a slightly curved line all the way across. And underneath that, I'm going to do another slightly curved line all the way across, which is like her belt. Now, coming out of her belt, I'm going to do a curved line right here in the corner, and then another little crease, and over here the same thing. Curved line in the corner, another little crease, same thing at the bottom, but this time it's going to slant down, and this crease is going to be a little longer. And then I'm going to slant down, and this crease is going to be a little longer too. Okay, now we can do the bottom of the dress. So I can't see the part where this touches. I don't want to draw through it. So I just want to imagine where that line would be coming out. It would be coming out right in the middle of that smile. So right in that middle of the smile, I'm going to have a line coming down. And this one, I'm going to do the same thing. Where would this line come out? Right about here in the middle of that smile, I'm going to do a line down. So this is her dress on the inside. And then she has this cloak coming over it. So coming out of my finger, the longest finger right here, I'm going to do a line down. And you can see that lines up with where this touched the hand. All right, now I'm going to do another line coming out of my pinky that curves down. And let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to kind of jump over my hand to the end of my middle finger and come down. And then coming out of my pinky, I'm going to do another line that slants in. All right, now we have her really pretty dress and cloak drawn. We can do the rest of her hair and her veil. Okay, now her hair is coming down, and this is all going to be hair right here. Her hair is kind of covering up part of her neck. So we can do where the veil touches her hair. I'm going to start with a dot right above this point where we did the hairline. I'm going to scoot up just a tiny bit, and I'm going to put a little dot right there. And from this dot, I'm going to curve down next to the face. Now, I'm going to make my way to her shoulder, but it's going to have a little bit of a curve to it. So watch me. I'm going to curve in, down, and touch. Now on the other side, I'm going to start from my dot. I'm going to curve over to the left and come down next to her face. Slant out and touch my shoulder. All right, that's going to be her hair. And then she's wearing a veil on top of her head. So I'm going to scoot up from that little circle, and I'm going to put another little circle or a little dot. And this one is going to come right down next to her head. But before it touches my shoulder, I'm going to curve out and touch the end of my shoulder. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Start from my dot, come out, down, touch the end of the shoulder. Now where my dots are, I want that to be very smooth. So I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to erase my little dots. And I'm going to smooth out this line so that when I trace it, I'll have a nice smooth line. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is our crown. So if you're using a pencil, you can very lightly draw your circle. If you have something that's a circle, you could trace it, or you could just sketch it out very nice and neatly. I'm going to start right across from her chin, and right across from her chin. And then I'm going to very lightly draw my circle going around. Now I want to very lightly fix my circle until I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to go back and erase the lines that I don't want. So I'm going to make my circle perfect. very lightly because we're not tracing this. You could trace it if you didn't want to do the stars. But I'm going to make her crown. I'm going to make her halo with the stars. Okay, so now that I have it lightly drawn where it's going to go, I'm going to start with the first star. Now, I don't want the first star perfectly above the top of her head because there's 12. So we're going to put 6 on this side and 6 on this side. So I'm going to find the center, and then I'm going to scoot to the left a little bit. Now, I'm going to teach you how to draw a perfect star, but these stars are pretty small. So I'm also going to show you, just by doing the little star that you're used to doing, how you would do that. So if you do a normal star, you know how that looks, right? Okay. Or you could do an actual star. So find the middle, scoot to the left. I'm going to start with a little tiny TP. And then I'm going to do 2 lines coming out on either side. My mom always taught that this was a little person named Bob and that he was going to work out. And he started by stretching his hands out to the sides. And then he put his hands on his hips. So he brought his hands in and in, put them on his hips. And then he did a jumping jack. So he jumped his legs out and out. And then he was already tired, so he sat down and he put his feet together like in butterfly style. So then he touched his feet together, in and in. And there you go, you have your little star. So now I'm going to draw all of my stars. Another thing you could do is put a circle where each star is going to go, and then you'll know if they're all equally across from each other. So I'm going to put circles where all my stars go. And there's going to be 12 stars in all. All right, now that I have my 12 stars drawn, I'm going to go ahead and very slowly and carefully trace my entire picture. I'm going to use a skinny black Sharpie. You can use a pen if you don't have a black Sharpie, or a marker. Just be very careful when you're doing this face. You don't want it to all run together. You want to go slow and careful. All right, now I'm going to erase my pencil lines. I had some sketches on the face that I had done, and anywhere I accidentally got off my pencil line when I was tracing. I have my pencil lines erased, and I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes. Now the eyes are going to be very hard because they're tiny itty bitty eyes. If you accidentally color the whole thing in, that's okay. I'm going to try to leave one little white spot to be my highlight. So I'm not even going to color. I'm going to actually just dot, dot, dot until I leave one little white spot. I'm going to do the same thing on this eye. Now, like I said, if you accidentally color the whole thing in, it's okay. You could always just leave it, or if you have a white colored pencil, you could go back and put a little dot. Okay, now it's time for the coloring. I'm so excited. I'm going to use Sharpies and a little bit of Prismacolor markers, but you can use any markers that you want, or you could use crayons or whatever you have at home. All right, here we go. Let's get started on our coloring. The first thing I'm going to do is the skin. Now, Sharpie has a skin tone. Get my markers. It's this one right here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I like that skin tone. Or you could use a Prisma marker. This is the same thing that I'll use for shadow colors. I have a gray that I'll use for shadows. Or this is called Cinnamon Toast, which is delicious. Not the marker. Cinnamon Toast is delicious. It has a delicious name. Now this marker is going to be a little bit more of a tan skin tone. So I think I'm gonna use this marker for Mary, but I think that you could do a regular skin tone just like this, like a flesh tone, or even maybe a colored pencil if you have one that's a little bit lighter. That's up to you. I'm gonna use this Prisma marker Cinnamon Toast. There's also a Prisma marker Light Peach. That would be a good color. That's up to you. I'm gonna use the smaller side. Since I'm doing her face, I don't wanna make a mistake. Oh, let's talk about the eyes. I'm not gonna color all the way up to the rainbow. What I'm gonna do is, with my peach, I'm gonna go right underneath my eye and I'm gonna color. So I'm leaving that little white spot on either side of the black. All right, a lot of times whenever you're drawing a girl or a woman, people don't color the lips. It's not smart to do that, because if I were to go back because I wanted her lips to be a little bit pink and I just put the pink on top of the white paper, it's gonna come out looking really pink. Now, if I leave the lips and I color them the same color as the skin, when you go back to add a color over it, it will look a lot more natural. It will look like a real person's lips. So I'm gonna add a little bit color. I'm gonna leave it like this for this video. I'm gonna make another video where I enhance it a little bit more if you wanna keep going once I'm done with this. And in that video, I'm gonna add a little bit of color to her lips, but I think I'm just gonna do it with a colored pencil. I'm gonna do it very lightly because I don't think she really needs it. But if you wanted to add it, you could. Okay, let's move on to our stars. Now I'm gonna do my stars yellow. Next, I'm going to do my hair, and I'm going to do my hair brown. When we color, don't color with our arm. We don't color with our wrist. We color with little lines up and down. My wrist isn't moving, just my fingers. Go slowly and carefully. We also want to remember the art time rules. No snow in Mexico, which means no white spots, and stay in the lines. When you leave white spots, it looks like little white snowflakes on your art. So no snow in Mexico, stay in the lines. Little lines when you color, and try to get all of your white spots. I think coloring is so fun. It's almost like they started coming out with adult coloring books, and kids always love coloring books. But there's something about coloring your own art which is even cooler. So it's almost as if we made our own coloring book page and now we get to color it in. So it's just so fun. Okay, I am going to do her outside veil and her cloak blue. I'm going to use a light blue color. You could do whatever blue you want. I'm going to do a lighter blue. If you watched any of my other videos, I taught you how to trap. Trapping means you trace the inside right along the black, very slowly and carefully. That way, when you go back to color up and down, you don't have to get so close to your black line. So I'm going to go ahead and trap my cloak in, and then I'm going to color it. Now the last thing I'm going to do, I am going to add shadow in her dress. Oh, I guess that would be, yeah, that's going to be white too. So I'm going to leave her dress white, but I want to add some shadows because nothing is just plain white. You can even see in this paper around here, there's shadows on everything that's white. And when you do a shadow in something that's white, you use gray. There's also, some people like to do shadows in blue. So think about when you're drawing a mountain with snow on it. Let's just say you drew a mountain right here. And it had a snowy top to it. I'm sure you've seen before where an artist has outlined this snow in blue. But sometimes snow has a blue shadow on it. Okay, so you can use light blue, you can use gray, or you could use your pencil. I'm going to use a Prismacolor marker, and I'm going to use the thicker side for my gray. This color is Cool Gray 30%. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to simply trace the inside of her dress. I went ahead and colored the belt gray, and I went over even the creases with the gray. Our final step to our art is to sign it. Go back to your black. At the bottom of your paper, small and neat, you're gonna write your name. And either underneath or on the other side, 2020. Name and year. Wow, you should really be proud of this picture. Not only did you draw a face, you drew 2 hands. That's amazing. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please share your art with me. You can email me at arttime@att.net, or you can post your picture on Facebook and tag Art Time. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you're notified every time we put a new video up. And if you want to keep going with your art and add some enhancing like shadows and highlights, make sure to check out our next video to take that Mary up to the next level. All right, remember, until next time, draw what you see and not what you think, and prepare to be amazed.